Hey everybody, welcome back to BK's Bullets Travel Edition. We are here in my hotel room and we're going to look at the new Superman costume together. Yes, everybody's already done a video. Hopefully I won't spend too much long on it, but I figured we did this for Batman years ago with Battinson, so we're going to do it again for Superman as we try to keep things equal. Yeah, we didn't do one for Wolverine, I guess, but I don't know. It's just... maybe Wolverine, like Hugh Jackman at this point, doesn't seem as interesting to me. Like, and that was like perfect. And Superman's costume has had many iterations at this point, and none of them have seemed perfect. So let's look at this one. I saw this earlier today, but this is the first time I'm really like poring over it. I've had a very busy day traveling. So I guess my first question is like, first thought. This is an interesting pose for the first Superman costume, right? Like, Brandon Routh, we saw him... I know I'm moving the camera around. Sorry to get more comfortable looking at my iPad down below and here at you guys. Brandon Routh had the full, like, I'm Superman pose and everything like that. And this one is, like, Superman going to work. And the first thing I saw, I was talking to my buddy Jacob, and I was like... hey, why is Superman, like, taking his time putting on his boots? Like, get to work, bro. The world needs saving. There's a giant glowing eyeball in the background. That's a very, like, interesting thing to look at. God, there's so many fucking ads on this page. All right, that's interesting. The blue looks deep on the pants. He's very battle-worn, so the red of his, like, the... red and gold of his symbol that we saw earlier last month, I think it was, looks very toned down, I guess, because it's a battle-worn image. So I think the first thing to really say is, like, this is a very interesting image to put out from James Gunn as, like, Superman, right? It's not the typical arms on hips kind of image. Zack Snyder gave us this, like, kind of shadowy cloaked thing of Superman in front of a bank vault with Henry Cavill years ago. So this is like, and I feel like that one left more to the imagination of what that costume actually looked like. Like, I felt like the Henry Cavill one was more about his arm and his hair, whereas this one's clearly about his boots and his chest symbol and the fact that he's, like, in battle, busy, right? Not clean. So, yeah, it's a long cape, okay, I guess we're going to do another long cape. Honestly, like, I kind of like the fake image that we got 2 months ago where Superman, it wasn't quite the symbol, but it was Superman with a short rounded cape, a la Grant Morrison's All-Star Superman, designed by Frank Quitely, who did all the art on that. Gotta give credit to the artist. But yeah, this is it's New 52 in the way that it's got, like, a raised collar, but it's not super raised. Like, if you look at Jim Lee's collars, it looks like they come right up to the bottom of their chin and have a deep V. This one looks more like it's coming, like, right here on his neck and then kind of up in this kind of where I have that giant fucking wrinkle, right? Halfway up his neck. So, okay, maybe more in the back. Maybe it meets his hairline in the back than it does in the rest of the costume. No V, so it's not clearly Jim Lee's design. It's got some not weird, but typical superhero ribbing, we will say that. I was reading some stuff on earlier, and people were complaining on Jamal Eigel's Facebook post, like, oh, it looks like his mom knows how to work a fucking basketball if this costume his mom made. Like, obviously we're done with that in the Superman era, right? I think we're done with my mom made my costume. Like, as endearing as that is on Superman and Lois, I think the modern movies, nobody's going to accept that. Like, oh yeah, you would wear a costume your mom made too in a fucking battle with aliens and stuff like that. I know he's invulnerable, but just, like, for fashion sense, I'm sure he's gonna be like, Mom, a modern Superman take, modern-ish. Everybody's gonna be like, we don't want modern. That's what Cavill was. I get it. I know what the Superman fans want, and I'm not signed up for either of them. Honestly, I'm not a huge Superman guy. I like the character. I like things that Man of Steel did. Obviously, I like things that the older movies did. I'm interested to see where this goes, to be quite honest. He's got, stitched knee pads, and the boots are red. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's more to say about the composure of this image and of David Cornsweet as Superman than there is to the costume itself. Because I feel like I started off the video saying like, oh, we've seen Superman costumes are interesting. And now that I'm looking at him, it's not that interesting. Yeah, he's got some red tights under there. He's got red bottoms, so that'll make some contingent of the fans happy. Me, personally, I don't care if he's got them or not. I think it just depends on how he stands up and how high they are, honestly. He's got a blocky belt, right? And one of the things I appreciate about the Cavill costume, even when they did away with the trunks, is like, all right, so he's still going to have some semblance of a belt there. And it was like, all right, Superman doesn't wear a belt, really. He doesn't need a belt. And this one looks very chunky. Like, he has hip pockets where he's going to put his phone, after he flies away. That's kind of what it looks like. Or his locker, his subway locker where he stores his clothes. Because you ain't wearing this underneath your business suit, right? It's one of the other comments I saw. So, yeah, I think I was focusing on the belt before I read any other commentary about this. Like, man, that belt looks a little chunky for Superman. So that's kind of interesting, because usually it's like the least noticeable part of a guy's costume, but clearly here this is some sort of, I guess the only way to take it is alien per se. Maybe it's a Kryptonian heritage thing. I don't know. So yeah, okay. So let's look at the hair. Let's zoom in on the hair. The S curl is way off to the side. Like I can, if I don't do this part of my hair up in the morning, it can kind of curl down into this. This is kind of as far as I get it. Here you go. And that's kind of what David Cornsweet has going on here, except his is much longer, right? It's not in the middle. It's not a spit curl. It's kind of more combed to the side, which I can appreciate. I can pull that off, but his is much longer. So yeah, I think it's an interesting picture. Like, I feel like the most interesting thing is that there's a giant eyeball behind it. No one asked what that was. Is it Brainiac? Is it something else? And why doesn't Superman care? But also just like the timing of it. Like, looks like he's slowly putting on his boots during a time of crisis. And I think that's the number one sin Superman can commit, is to take his fucking time putting his boots on. So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. What else is there to say? Honestly, at this point, I'm interested to see some more characters. Like, show me all these other myriad of DC characters you want to throw into this movie for no goddamn reason. Like, to me, there's too many characters in this movie. So, I don't know. We'll see. This movie comes out in more than a year. It's curious why they didn't do this for Free Comic Book Day 2 days ago on Saturday. Why they didn't do this a couple of weeks ago for Superman's birthday. Like, what was the fucking holdup? Like, there are better days to do it than a fucking Monday. But them's the breaks, right? So let me know what you guys thought of the Superman image down below in the comments. We'll see you guys next time in the Funny Pages.